You tapping in real quick, something like nothing major, man. You know what I'm talking about? Just sitting out here burning this motherfucker down while I politic these last minute parlay placements for these NFL kickoffs today. You know what I'm talking about? As well as some proper early bird parlay placements as far as all of these favorites are concerned. You know what I'm talking about? That's how I go about, my parlays anyway. You know what I mean? I get them all favorites out the way as early as possible. You know what I'm talking about? And then I start talking about individuals, that I might like swap out options and all that. That's when I start adding all that. But first and foremost, I get these all favorites out the way, man, to catch them money lines because they get to, being a bit too fucking ridiculous the closer we get to fight night. You know what I'm talking about? So then when you start trying to parlay these favorites all up, they minus 500, minus, like Chase Hooper's a minus almost 800 right now. You know what I'm talking about? You feel what I'm saying to you, man? They got a Bryce Mitchell at like a minus 525 in some places, man, huh? Like, what the fuck is going on, man? So, come fight next week, man. Going up to fight night, Chase Hooper's gonna be like this shit gonna look like Fang and Kong as far as money lines. Like, Chase Hooper's gonna be around a minus 1,000. Fucking Bryce Mitchell, for whatever fucking reason, regardless of who he's fighting, is going to be, he's a minus 525 in some places right now. That motherfucker's going to be like a minus 850 with motherfucking, what's the name, Chase at like a minus 1,000 and Dominic Reyes at like a minus 500. You know what I'm talking about? These lines are going to get out of control. So while I may be on the other side of some of these individuals like Cyril Gane, Masvar Evilov, you know what I'm talking about? While I might be on this other side of some of these individuals as far as picks are concerned, Gane's right now out here where I'm at, I'm talking about in the casino and all that, he's a minus 260. You know what I'm talking about? And where old boy at? Masvar's a minus 250, Gane's a minus 260, Shavkat's a minus 350, Bryce is a minus 525. Like, this shit is crazy, man. Chase Hooper's a minus 800. You know what I'm talking about? You understand what I'm saying to you, though? Like, if you want to get on the side of all these favorites and parlay them up, you got to do that shit now. Catch these lines now. If you're on the side of these favorites, catch them now. Even if you're not on the side of these favorites, but you want to do an all favorites parlay just to secure your back door, do that shit now. You understand what I'm saying to you? That's why I'm doing it. I'm great going here and drop a, nice little grip on this 8-legger right here, man. You know what I'm talking about? Shavkat Rakhmonov at minus 350. Cyril Gane at minus 260. Themba Gorimbo at minus 210. Like, Themba's a minus 210, man. Shit's getting crazy, man. Themba's going to be a minus 300, 350, going on minus 400 against Vicente Luque, the highest level of opposition he's ever had to face as of yet. And I understand he's looked good, but, listen, I picked Vicente, but, I know individuals are going to parlay Themba up. He's going to be more of a significant favorite. So if I want to get my favorites parlays out the way, I got to do that now. Then I start putting my parlays together. Then I start getting spicy with, adding swap out options to some of these legs. You know what I'm talking about? Because those plus money numbers ain't going to get no worse the way motherfuckers is betting on these favorites already. You know what I mean? So I got to get the favorites out the fucking way. And that's what today's about. You know what I'm talking about? Early Bird Sunday. You know what I mean? But Shavkat Rakhmonov at minus 350. This is an 8-legger. I don't know what it's going to come to yet because I just got this printed out over at the, you know what I mean, at the little motherfucking meat market real quick. You know what I mean? I ran in there and cashed out a little motherfucking over and under for the NBA and told them print me out the UFC. They don't let you bet that UFC over there, but they got the money lines available. I told them print me that shit out, print me out the NBA and the NFL first half and all that. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, so this little 8-legger, whatever it come to, you can do the math. I'll post a little clip when I go in here and drop a little dub on it real quick, you know what I mean? And we'll see what it's hitting for then. But it's Shavkat Rakhmonov at minus 350, Cyril Gane at minus 260, Themba at minus 210, Masvar at minus 250, Battle at minus 240, Reyes at minus 330, Joshua at minus 165, and Max at minus 155. And that minus 165 and that minus 155 is what I need for all these, minus 260s, minus 350s, 240s, and 250s. You know what I'm talking about? And they gonna creep, man. You got fucking Bryce Mitchell at minus 525 right the fuck now. More money's gonna come in on that kid, man. You know what I'm talking about? Not enough's gonna come in on Kron. Bryce is gonna be sitting around a minus fucking between 850 and a minus 1,000 come fight night, and that's fucking ridiculous. But if you wanted to bet Bryce, you do it now. I'm not betting Bryce at that price. He's over the minus 500 line. Not even on an early bird. Fuck that. Chase Hooper at minus 800. Clay Guida, the carpenter, might come in there and put in some fucking work. He might clip him and disconnect him. He might come out of that motherfucking mess of a hair like the Tasmanian devil. You know what I mean? When his shit get to coming all loose from the ponytail and he's all over the place. He might do some nut ass shit. Chase Hooper at minus 800. Not even in an early bird, motherfucker. You know what I mean? He's over that minus 500, man. We rocking with these individuals, these favorites, under the minus 500 money line. You notice I stayed away from the motherfucking main event. You feel me? And it is what it is, man. I'm going to lock in on some of these favorites that have nothing to do with the heavyweight matchup and nothing to do with some of these more questionable matchups. And then I'll go heavy on that, too. You know what I'm talking about? But, yeah, man, you know, Rachmanov at minus 350. I know it's going to be, you know, some money coming in on Ian, but it's going to be a lot more coming in on Shavkat. He's going to creep up to 500, man. So I got to do that now. You know what I'm talking about? Cyril Gane, if I want action on him, I got to do it now. At minus 260, that's going to creep up over probably like minus 350. You feel what I'm saying to you? Based off the fact that they fought already 5 rounds and Gane beat him via unanimous decision. The only people to beat Gane are, you know what I mean, former and current champions like Ngannou and John Jones. A lot of people are going to put a lot of stock into that, and it's going to be a lot of bread put down on motherfucking Gane, and that minus 260 is not going to be around for too long, in my personal opinion. You understand what I'm saying to you? So if I want action on him, I got to get it now. And Themba, unfortunately, I feel like he's going to creep up to like around a minus 320, maybe a minus 350 as well. If not, he might cap off at like minus 285. So if I want action on him, because I'm going to have action on this fight going the other way, let me get that now. Masvidal Ivanov, he's a minus 250. A lot of people are going to put a lot of stock into his last 3 fights, Dan Ige, Diego Lopez, and Arnold Allen, and rightfully so. As far as that last name, Arnold Allen, that's a fucking feather in the cap. And I got a bad feeling, although I'm all over Aljo, I got a bad feeling that this might look like Piotr Jan versus, you know, Davis and Figueiredo, where Masvidal, although he's very efficient in the offensive and defensive wrestling and grappling department, and Aljo knows that, but that's not going to keep, you know, shy Aljo away from trying to implement that part of his game. You know, Masvidal might very well just be able to keep it upright due to the fact that how efficient he is in the, you know, I'm talking about wrestling and grappling department, offensive and defensively, and he might just use that defense to keep it upright and box Aljo up, man. Possibly drop him a couple times and just do the better work, man. So I can see it going that way. So if I want money on Masvidal, I want action on Ivanov, because I'm going to have action on Aljo. I got to get that now. You know I'm talking about? Battle. Listen, I get it. You know, Randy Brown, he's long. You know, he's lanky. He knows how to use that range and that distance. He can be dangerous against, you know, certain individuals in certain situations. But I think Brian Battle right now is a problem for absolutely anybody. And I believe leading in, you know, in the fight week and up to the fight, that's going to be realized. And he might be up there like around -4 or something, man. You know what I'm talking about? And rightfully so, man. Because I think he's going to motherfucking get Randy out of there inside the distance. But I like that 240. Dominic Reyes at -330. I got to get that now because he's probably going to be -450, -500. God forbid he goes over the -500 money line and Anthony Lionheart Smith comes out there and does something crazy, but gotta jump on that now. Joshua Van at -165, I like that. You know what I'm talking about? And Max Griffin at -155, I like that. I'm good with those, man. You know what I mean? But these other ones, man, Shavkat, Cyril Gane, Masvidal, Battle, Dominic Reyes, like these motherfuckers are gonna creep up, man. So if I want to get action on them, I gotta get action on him now, in my personal opinion. You ain't gotta operate like that. That's how I'm operating. You know what I mean? It's only one downside to early bird parlays, man. You know what I'm talking about? And that's a motherfucker pulling out. That's a motherfucker canceling. But it's still a profit. You know what I'm talking about? A win's still a win. It's still a profit. It just voids that leg on that parlay. You know what I'm talking about? And that's one more fight, one less leg, one less fight that you have to stress out about that night, and the profit's a profit. You know what I'm talking about? And sometimes the universe is motherfucking saving our asses by them fights being canceled, man. Because they end up being the most questionable fights, and possibly the most, the fight that you're at most risk of having somebody fumble the bag with. You know what I'm talking about? So sometimes you blessed by them fights being canceled. You know what I mean? Because you don't really know how it would have went. But that's the only downside, man. These money lines, that's the upside, man. Catching these money lines and nobody falls out, nobody cancels, and being able to cash this motherfucking cash this bag. You know what I'm talking about? From these early lines, that's a lot better than, tapping in all this week and all next week and watching all the prediction shows. You know what I'm talking about? Sometimes you gotta go with your gut real quick, run to the motherfucker, put your little Jones in, then go tap in with everybody, see what everybody got to say, go to the little prediction chain, see where everybody's at, do your little 1-2, do all your homework, you know what I'm talking about? And then go lay where you feel like laying, you know what I mean? But at that point in time, this minus 800 for Chase Hooper, if you want action on him, that's going to be over to minus 1,000. This minus 525 for Bryce Mitchell. If you want action on him, that's going to be up around the minus 800 where Bryce is sitting at. This minus 350 for Shav Cop's going to be around minus 525 where Bryce is at. This minus 260 where Surreal's at will be around minus 350 where Shav Cop's at, bare minimum. This 330 where Dominic Reyes is at, it'll be around a minus 525 where motherfucking Bryce Mitchell's at. If it's not sitting like around, 390, 410 for a little bit, you know what I mean? But these money lines are going to go fucking crazy. So if you're you're on the side of most of these guys to be able to, show up and get the job done, go lock them in real quick. Go catch them early money lines and lock them the fuck in real quick. If you going down this list and you're like, man, boom, 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 man, I don't know, skip, boom, boom, boom. All right, cool. Take them 5 or 6 booms, and them 4 or 5 booms, and go blab. You know what I mean? Lay something down on them motherfuckers, man. And then go do your homework and your research and wait for other motherfuckers, that you respect their opinion and all that and their insight to tap in and upload they shit and go pick they fucking brain and see what's going on. Whoop, wop, whip, you know what I mean? And then, catch some of these later lines. Because if you wait around, these lines are going to be crazy, man. You know what I'm talking about? You talking about you can parlay some of these. You don't have to go crazy. You can parlay a few of them up together right now. A couple of them and get a plus money number. A few of them's going to give you a decent number. You start going 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 legs, you can get crazy numbers. You know what I'm talking about? It gets closer to fight night, it's going to be more like this last fight night. You're going to have to put the fucking, you're going to have to put them all together just to get a decent plus money number. 5, 6 heads is going to be coming together like plus 189. You know how Kong and Wang and Zhang and all the rest of them was minus, this and minus 5 this and minus 4 this and minus 3 this and all. Like, they don't, they don't come together for much. And I'm greedy, you know what I'm talking about? I'm not... You know what I mean? A win's a win, a profit's a profit. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to crack the motherfucking casino every time. I'd like to. You know what I'm talking about? But, I'm trying to get after this dollar, man. The gamble, the stress that these UFC fights will put on you, man. Huh? When you start picking sides and rolling the dice, it needs to be more than the plus 1 something for me. You know what I mean? So I got to catch these early money lines, you know what I mean? So I can drop a dub on something and catch a few hundred. You feel what I'm saying? So you drop a dub on something and catch a few hundred to a stack. You feel me? Because 6 to 8 legs and nobody's over that minus 400 money line. Some of them ain't even over that minus 200 money line for 2 of them. You know what I'm talking about? Then some of them aren't over the minus 3. You know what I mean? Then a couple of them are just over the minus 3. So it's like you can still put them together right now. I know I'm rambling. I know I'm being redundant. But it's for a reason, man. You know what I mean? You sit around and wait another 7 fucking 10 days, man. These lines are going to be out of fucking control. You know what I'm talking about? They going to be out of control. But I would highly suggest everybody stay the fuck away from Chase Hooper and Clay Guida. Chase Hooper at minus 800 and Clay Guida at plus 500, man. Stay away from that, man. I like Chase, man. Chase is dangerous. He's a young bull. I think Clay's like 42. He's like my age, and Chase is like 25. You know what I'm talking about? So it's a significant age difference. You know what I'm talking about? The height, the length, the speed. But you can never just disrespectfully spit in the face of a Clay Guida at plus 500, in there against somebody like Chase Hooper, man. He's been in there with absolutely everybody. You know what I mean? It is what it is, though. I guess, you know, Vince was a plus 500 against Kennedy, and Chuck Wu's minus 800. We saw how that went. Kennedy didn't like that. That's why he came back with a vengeance in his last matchup. But Kennedy was a minus 800. Long, had the height, had the reach, had the age. You know what I'm talking about? He had a whole speed, a whole lot of advantages against, you know, the 40-year-old Ovin St. Preux. Why? Vince was a plus 500, and Chase was a Kennedy was a minus 800, and Vince Cash is a plus 500, winning via split decision. Don't let that be the one. Chase Hooper at minus 800 and Clay Guida at plus 500 comes out there and cashes as a plus 500 motherfucking underdog. God forbid, inside the distance or via submission, takes his gloves off and just goes out on a high note while Chase is just over there with his chin in his chest soaking. Oh my goodness, as well as everybody else who had a motherfucking Clay Guida or a Chase Hooper ticket in with no not even one dog play on Clay to motherfucking secure their back door, You better stay away from that fucking fight, man. And listen, while I like Bryce against Kron, Bryce is not, you know, what's my guy's name? Why am I not thinking of his name, man? The Canadian boy. Y'all know who I'm talking about, man. I can't think of it, man. Jourdain. He's not Charles Air Jourdain or even old boy. You know, he's not anybody. Was it Cub Swanson and Charles Jourdain that fucked him up? Like, Bryce Mitchell is neither one of them on the feet in the striking department. Not even a Cub Swanson now in 2024. Bryce Mitchell is nowhere near that elite level of a striker. You understand what I'm saying to you? So it's going to be a bit harder for Bryce to pick him apart and just dismantle him and break him down. And as durable as Kron is, and for as not so dangerous as Bryce is, you understand what I'm saying to you? Kron might just walk right through some shit because he welcomes the entanglements, the jiu-jitsu engagements, the wrestling and the grappling engagements. He welcomes that shit. That's why he walks into hell's fire, taking whatever you gonna give him, trying to rip off a few of his own, because if you get entangled and you want to roll around, you might be the one getting wrapped the fuck up. And if you wrap me up, then salute to you, because that's a job well fucking done. Like, Kron's not the one. You know what I'm talking about? Kron is not the fucking one to be making a Bryce Mitchell a minus 525 and making Kron a plus 400 based off of what I think it was Cub, if I'm not mistaken, and Charles Jourdain were able to do to him, because Bryce is not that. Bryce does his best work on the mat, and I don't know that he wants to be there. And I think he needs to pick him apart and treat him like a Ryan Hall. But this is a very, very way much more dangerous version of a Ryan Hall. This is Ryan Hall on motherfucking devil steroids. You know what I'm talking about? With gasoline and sweat just pouring out of him, walking through the fire, man. You know what I mean? Kron is a different, you know. You don't want to go down there and roll around with him like a Ryan Hall, but you don't really want to just stand and bang with this motherfucker if you don't got it in you to bang. If you don't got that dog in you and you can't fucking slang and bang, you ain't ready to squabble and scrap, because he'll turn it into a fight. You don't belong being a minus 525 against Kron, man. But to be determined, stay the fuck away from that fight, y'all. Stay the fuck away from that fight. We obviously are not privy to the Kennedy money line yet. You know what I'm talking about? So I'm sure that Kennedy and Chuck Wu money line is going to be significant. I'm sure he's going to, that's what I'm talking about. It's going to be like Kong, Fang, and how Zhang were. Minus, you know, those three most significant favorites is going to be Chase Hooper, Kennedy and Chuck Wu, and Bryce Mitchell. Individuals, all who have proven that they can show up with off nights. You know what I'm talking about? So I would stay away from all of those fights. And, you know, Kennedy and Chuck Wu and old boy, they big boys anyway. That's not heavyweight, right? That's light heavyweight. But still, man, I just stay away from that fight, because I got a strong feeling he going to open up as a significant favorite. Maybe I'm wrong, but stay away from that fight, man. You know what I mean? Listen, I like Max against Mike. I like Max against Mike, and I like Josh against Cody. I think Josh is gonna fuck Cody up. So Josh at minus 165 against Cody. That's a good motherfucking number. And I like Josh and Max. I got a play on them two on the prelims. You know what I'm talking about? Because minus 165 and minus 155, I can really wrap my head around wrapping them two up together and dropping something on them. You know what I'm talking about? Like him, man. Brian Battle too. Come on, man. Come on, man. He's at minus 240 right now. That's going to creep. That's going to creep. And I can get around my, Evilov, keeping his fight upright, using that wrestling, that defensive wrestling and grappling. You know what I'm talking about? I can wrap my head around that. So, that's absolutely necessary, man, for me to get action on him, man. I believe Vicente Luque versus Themba is a secure your back door situation, man. You know what I mean? Vicente can prove to be a motherfucker. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Anthony Smith and Reyes. Who knows what's going on with Reyes? Just because he got one win, should still be able to beat this version of Anthony Smith. You know what I mean? But with that being said, I don't know, man. Maybe it's worth putting a duplicate ticket in and throwing the Lionheart in there, at least on one. You know what I'm talking about? At plus, where's he at? 260. Maybe you want to wait a little bit longer and let him get to like plus 350 and then maybe think about adding him as a swap out option on a duplicate ticket just to get that better plus number, because it's going to be a better dog tag. That dog tag's just going to creep. I don't think it's going to get any smaller, any less significant. You know what I'm talking about? And I guess, Nate and Doohoo Choi, that's a mandatory swap out option needs to be applied as well, based off the fact they both kill or be killed, man. You know what I'm talking about? They're both durable, and they both can get it done. They both can get done in, too. You understand what I'm saying to you? They kill or be killed. Somebody's going the fuck down or getting choked the fuck out or a limb's getting snapped. You know what I'm talking about? Like, these two motherfuckers are going to scrap. So it's mandatory for Nate versus Choi. You know what I'm talking about? I think it's mandatory for Aljo versus Evilov, too. At least if you're all over Evilov, to get one play in on Aljo as a dog. You know what I'm talking about? Currently at plus 200, you know what I mean? And I believe if, you want to wait a little bit, that dog tag will get better. That's why I'm just getting these favorites out the way right now, you know what I mean? We talked about that Bryce versus motherfucking Mitchell, man. It's on you with Shavkat and Ian. I'm highly confident in Shavkat, man. You know what I'm talking about? I'll have tickets in where I just don't have that motherfucking, that fight attached to it. I'm not even going to go against the grain with Shavkat and add a swap out option. But, if you feel the need to, based off of respect and principle for Ian and that O next to his name as well and what he's been able to do, then, to each their own. I'm on Shavkat or I'm not. You feel me? And he's at plus 280 right now. So that dog tag's nice, and he'll probably creep to a plus 300, man. So who knows, man? Maybe that'll change. But to be determined. I think Alexander Volkov and Cyril Gane, swap out options should be applied. It's heavyweight MMA. It shouldn't be locked up in your main plays unless you're highly motherfucking confident. I know Gane got it done the last go around in 5 rounds, but this is 3 rounds. And it's going to be highly competitive, closely contested. Old boy knows he lost the last one. It was highly competitive, closely contested. It was 25 minutes. This is 15 minutes, and maybe he can play the range game and produce the better body of work to get this one 2 rounds to 1 since it's 3 and set them up for the future, rubber match somewhere down the road. Or maybe Gane just goes in there and gets it done again. You know what I'm talking about? And deads that rivalry and puts it to an end 2-0. You feel what I'm saying to you? But that's a highly technical chess match. Very dangerous. They both know it, and it'll be approached, proper. It'll be approached as such, man. I couldn't think of the fucking word, but it'll be approached properly by both of them. Accordingly. They'll deal with it accordingly. You know what I mean? So, it's not going to necessarily be an exciting fight, because just about every shot that lands from either side, more so from one side, could disconnect either guy. You know what I'm talking about? It's a technical chess match, man. And then there's that main event. I don't want a whole lot of action on that main event. It's the main event. You know what I'm talking about? Alexander Pantoja's an OG. He's crafty. He's a UFC veteran. He's battle tested. He's been around. You know what I'm talking about? This scrap, not so much so. It's just a whole bunch of question marks. I don't give a fuck what his record is or how many times he's fought. Just like old boy that came over here 25-4 that fought Marcus McGee. You know what I mean? And the pick was Marcus McGee to do what Marcus McGee did. You understand what I'm saying to you? Because while Marcus might only have, you know, so many fights over here, and he's a prospect amongst these prospects over here, you can have 30 or 40 fights from over there. When you come over here, you're very much so just a prospect amongst these prospects over here, man. And these prospects over here are built different. You know what I mean? I just feel like the level of opposition is different. With all due respect, that's just my personal opinion. So while old boy has looked good where he's looked good at, up against who he's looked good up against, and he's accumulated a nice little record, he's also been finished inside the distance, not just lost via decision. So it's not like we talking about somebody who only win, and don't know how to lose, man. You know what I mean? So he gonna have to make me a believer. You know what I'm talking about? I don't want a whole lot of action on that fight, but a swap out option will be applied, just off principle. There's question marks. There's question marks all over this motherfucking fight, man. What's he gonna look like over here up against somebody such as Alexander Pantoja in a main event? You know what I'm talking about? When he's already been finished inside the distance more than once by individuals that are a lesser level of opposition, in my personal opinion. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, man. That's how I'm looking at this motherfucking card. That's how I'm approaching this motherfucker, man. We gonna get into all these parlays for the prelims, the main card, the whole card. You know, as soon as I get all these money lines and they're all dropped on the apps, we'll talk about some props, you feel me? We'll get into all the good shit, man. Everything in between. I'm finna slide in this motherfucker and see if I can properly place something for these kickoffs. You know, appreciate y'all for tapping in. Peace and blessings. Best of luck with any and all bets and parlays, man. Enjoy y'all Sunday.